All right, welcome back to the shop tour. I guess this is Two Stroke Turbo's channel. We have a new dog, kind of a temporary or a transient dog. Today we're kind of dog sitting. And what are we doing? Wouldn't be the Two Stroke Turbo channel unless we had a cool car to work on. This one's no exception. This is a 1957 BMW Isetta 300 sliding window model. This car has been in my shop before, probably 10 years ago, different owner, and the new owner has enjoyed it a lot, but it quit running, which is a bummer. The seat for the car is there. It has the BMW M symbol on it, which is kind of ironic for a little 13 horsepower car. Cute little thing. I've got the seat out. I've got the battery disconnected. It has an oversized battery box with a full-size battery. Most of these have golf cart batteries, but this has a full-size battery. It's been modified. And it also has the electronic regulator system, or an upgraded regulator system. This thing has had starting problems for a long time, and when you know it, that's what it's here for. It quit starting. I put a used Dynastart in it years ago to help with that starting problem, and I want to kind of show you how this works. This is the engine cooling fan that bolts on right here like this. The fan blades blow air up through this duct across the cylinder and out the other side. So to access the Dynastart for testing and purposes, we need to remove this fan. We need to remove the point advance plate, which I've got just setting on here. And we need to remove the pie plate, which is the covering. I've got all these things loosened up. And once you get all that off, including the fan housing down there, then you can access the Dynastart. The Dynastart is a generator and a starter. So I think it's below 1200 RPM. The electricity is magically induced the big stator assembly, which turns the engine over, and then once it gets to 1200 RPM, it reverses, starts charging the battery. This one has a good post, but there's something up with it, and I don't know what it is. It's not starting. So I've disconnected the main start lead and some of the small wires. I'm just about ready to pull off this Dynastart unit. Luckily, I do enough of this work. I have a brand new, not brand new, it's a remanufactured Dynastart in my hand here. You can see the points on there, the new brushes, the new power post, and it's completely tested. See the magnets and everything? Pretty awesome. I feel pretty lucky to have an exchange program for those. That seems to be the most common problem with the Isettas. So we're going to pull this one off. We're going to test the stator assembly and the, what do you call the big unit with all the wires? I'll figure that out in a second. Do some tests and see where our breakdown is. So I thought this would be a great video to show you how this works. Okay, so we have the Dynastart unit off of our BMW Isetta, and I hope I'm saying this correctly. This is the stator unit. I've been rotating it around with my hand. This is on the crankshaft of the engine. There is a few wires that concern me. Oh, where was that? If these have any broken wires at all, they won't charge or start. And there was a spot, like right there, where the insulation is coming off. So I'm going to test this. I do have the tool that goes inside here and it pulls this off the end of the crankshaft. I just need to make sure that there's good continuity between all these windings. So I believe this is called the stator assembly, and the Dynastart is referred to as the field. This is the Dynastart that was on the car, and this is the new one that I propose to put on the car. And I've got both the posts pointing up. This one you can see has the condenser part of the Dynastart. I don't remember that being like that, but I guess you can put that in there. Kind of convolutes everything. This has the new copper brushes, whereas this one does not have good copper brushes. And of course this one's clean, and I'm assuming it tests fine. I'm going to now do some testing on this one with an ohm meter to see if it's got a bad winding, magnet, connection. I thought this was a good Dynastart 10 years ago, who knows what's happened since then. There are a couple special tools you will need to work on Dynastarts. This one, of course, I just talked to you about removing the stator unit. It goes in here like this, and it twists, and it will pull the stator unit off of the crankshaft. That's your stator tool. And then you need the advanced plate tool, which is a little tiny bolt like this that screws in, and it pulls off the end of the crankshaft same way. Simple little tools, but very needed. You don't want to use anything that can damage any parts. So let's start doing some testing. Now, as far as the testing and the specifications, I use this book, Isetta Restoration by John Jensen, and I have it even bookmarked in here. All the specs are right in here. Works really great. Okay, so we've got our used Dynastart on the bench, and surprisingly enough, I've got my meter here. I've been doing some tests. I can't find any problem with the starting circuit, but I am finding an ohm problem with the charging circuit. So I'm going to replace the Dynastart and then put the new Dynastart in and check inside the car some of the relays and things, because there's still something not quite right. This Dynastart is actually pretty good. It's not off by much, but enough that I think I want to replace it. So again, use your meter, follow all the tests either by Isetta Doc or John Jensen in the book, and hopefully everything comes out for you. Now, being that our Dynastart actually checked out good, it makes me suspect this armature or stator, as I called it. So I'm going to start testing the ohm ratings between this point here and each one of these individual wirings and see if there's a dead spot in this armature. All right, so it's the next day. I got the old Dynastart out. It's on the floor. If you recall, the points were located right here on the old Dynastart, and the condenser was located right here. It's kind of a weird spot. I'm not sure if that's correct. What I did is I took the condenser out, and on the car, I relocated the condenser to right next to the coil where it probably should be. Things fit a little better. So the Dynastart wiring for the new Dynastart is not super simple. This car's had some modifications. I did figure out the positive and negative, or plus and minus on the coil. That's figured out. And there's 3 wires that come off the Dynastart to engage the starter and the charging system. This car has got these wires which go to the center of the car through a patch hole. It's supposed to go right through here, but there's a big ground strap that goes to the engine block. I think I've got to drill a new hole through the firewall here and run the new wires and figure out how to do this. This is a little tricky. So you can see there's the patch there behind, next to the spare tire. Somebody ran the wires through there. This car has an alternate type of starting system. It's a little hokey pokey. It doesn't fit with the normal model. I believe I've got this one figured out, and I've got to drill a hole over there, bring the wires in, and then figure out there's 2 more wires. Oh, I got to figure it out. I don't want to blow anything up, but it's going to take a little while to figure that out. Okay, so we're picking up where we left off last time. A few hours ago, we rewired everything. I got rid of all the Dynastart wires that are not being used. I'm going to pull these all out. These are all the wires that were hacked into the car through a patch panel. Put those down there. We have everything hooked up. In other words, we have a new hole drilled in our firewall here so the new cables can go through. I hope I have everything hooked up right. We have the new Dynastart on. Don't be dissuaded by this chrome pie plate. This Dynastart has the new brushes with real copper, and you can see I actually burnished the stator or the armature there a little bit for them to break into. relocated the condenser to the coil. Everything's hooked up. All the wires seem good. I've done basically hooked the battery up just to make sure nothing caught fire. This car has the extra heavy duty relay, which is aftermarket, and an aftermarket voltage regulator relay, which I think is off of a bus, a Volkswagen bus. But I followed the instructions in the book. All the DF and D plus and numbers match the same. Again, this book is the Bible. It is Isetta Restoration by John Jensen, and you really need to pay attention to this. So this car has an additional ground strap, an additional ground post that goes to the battery disconnect. It's hooked up. The battery's not hot. Oh, connection's a little loose there. Oh, this is the moment of truth. I'm going to turn the key. Now, again, I'm not going to start the engine. I just want to see if the engine will start. I don't have the fan on. The carburetor has no fuel. It will not start even if everything works, but I wanted to see if the engine turns, and turns over rapidly. So that's what I'm after. I've done all the tests. I think it's going to work. I'm ready to turn the key. So this light should light up. There shouldn't be any smoke or sparks. Okay. Yes, we have the light. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. Again, I tested the Dynastart. I couldn't find a fault with the starting coils, but I did find a fault with the charging coils on the Dynastart. The armature tested out fine, so here we go. Yes! Nice, strong start. Everything is clicking and working like it should. That's awesome. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, that's nice. I just never know how these are going to go, especially with cars that are 65 years old, that wiring's been tinkered with, that fix this car. So the next thing we have to do is get the fan back on, get the some fuel in our carburetor. You can tell that the glass bowl there doesn't have any fuel in it. The valve is off. It might even have an aftermarket. It's got an aftermarket something on there. Oh, it's just a valve. It's just a lawnmower shut off. Okay, that's not right. We got to fix that. But I'm just happy this thing turns over. This guy's going to be so happy. Thanks for following along with this Isetta Dynastart repair. Take your time. It's a little overwhelming, but you can do it. Be sure to get the book. That's the Bible. And a few of those tools. I think I showed you those couple special tools that take off the eccentric for the ignition points, and then to pull the stator out. You'll need those. But it's pretty simple. It's old technology, but this is the most complex part of the whole entire car. I'm so happy. Thanks for following along.